How's it going, folks? I'm Des with DesFit, and this is the brand new Polar Pacer Pro GPS running watch. And what Polar's done with the Pacer Pro is choose some of the most useful running features from their higher-end watches and puts those all into a smaller case. But probably more importantly, it also has a smaller price. And the Pacer Pro isn't the only new watch that Polar's announcing today. So Polar's also announcing the regular Pacer, or basically a non-pro version of this watch right here, which is also aimed at runners, but it just comes with a few less features. The Pacer Pro is available to order as of today, and then the regular Pacer, that's going to be available to order in about a month or so, I think like May 2022. And I'll have another follow-up video on the regular Pacer, so make sure to subscribe to get a notification when that video drops. But in today's video, I'll be going over everything that you need to know about the new Pacer Pro, including all the features that it has to offer, how it compares to other Polar watches, including the new regular Pacer, as well as how accurate it is for sports and fitness, including GPS and heart rate accuracy. And as always, if the information in this video does help you out at all, don't be shy about hitting that like button down below, as it really helps the channel and I appreciate it. So the Pacer Pro shares very much the same kind of style as Polar's high-end Vantage V2, with the same style case, buttons, and even the integrated style band that wraps around the wrist. It has a 45mm case versus the 47mm case that's found on the Vantage V2, and the Pacer Pro comes in at a very svelte weight of 41 grams. The Vantage V2 uses more premium materials like an aluminum body, but that also does cost more, so they chose a resin case with the Pacer Pro to keep the cost down. And it comes in 5 different color options, so there's a carbon gray, midnight blue, autumn maroon, aurora green, and this snow white version that I have right here. And the Pacer Pro also comes with Polar shift adapters, which they have these adapters which can simply go in place of the integrated band, and these will allow you to use industry standard 20mm watch straps, and they do include the shift adapters with all the Pacer Pro models. The regular Pacer, which is coming out a little bit later, comes in 4 different colors: a purple dusk color, deep teal, cloud white, and a night black. But the Pacer and Pacer Pro use a 5-button configuration with these nice grippy buttons, which also resemble the buttons that are found on the Vantage V2. But unlike the Vantage V2, the Pacer Pro and Pacer don't have a touchscreen. The display, however, gets a slight upgrade, so it still uses a 1.2-inch transflective display with 240 by 240 pixels, and this display is optimized for easy readability outdoors in bright conditions, just like many of Polar's other watches, and the display is protected with Gorilla Glass 3. But what they've done with the Pacer and Pacer Pro is reduce the distance from the glass to the actual display. So like here on the Vantage V2, you can see that there's just a little bit larger gap from the top of the glass to the actual display. Now with the Pacer Pro and Pacer, they've reduced this by about 3mm, so it's just a little bit easier to read. Polar also went ahead and redesigned its Precision Prime heart rate sensor on the Pacer and Pacer Pro, where they no longer have the metal bumps that were found before. So those metal bumps served kind of 2 purposes. One, to detect skin contact, which was supposed to help produce more accurate results, and those metal bumps also served as charging points with the charger. But they've reworked this heart rate sensor, and they claim that they can now detect that skin contact optically rather than with those metal bumps. This reworked HR sensor has 10 LEDs with 4 light detectors in varying colors, which are designed to work in different wavelengths, and I'll have more details about the heart rate accuracy later on in the video. And since the Pacer and Pacer Pro did get rid of those metal bumps, which were previously used for charging, Polar had to come up with a new way of charging, so they have a new magnetic charging cable on the Pacer and Pacer Pro. And then for battery life, they say you can get up to a week between charges, and that will depend on how many activities that you're tracking, especially outdoor activities. And for me, I got about 5 days out of it, including tracking some outdoor activities. And then for GPS battery life, they say you can get up to 35 hours, and that is with both GPS and heart rate. And then you can also get up to 100 hours using some power saving modes. And then the Pacer and Pacer Pro also come with a new faster processor that's supposed to be 2 times faster, and I think the speed improvements actually are a little bit noticeable. And then in terms of software features, Polar chose to include quite a few features that they thought would be very beneficial for runners, and it really comes with quite a bit, especially compared to Polar's other watches. And although the Pacer Pro has a lot of running features, and I think it's almost being marketed as a running watch, it still has the capability of being a full-on multi-sport and triathlon watch. So if you're looking for a watch for triathlon, this is a good option, especially at this price point. But back onto the running front, the Pacer Pro has a barometric altimeter, which allows it to have a few features that can be really beneficial for runners. The first of which is that the Pacer Pro can collect running power directly on the wrist without the need for an additional foot pod or anything like that. And Polar's generally just reserved this feature for some of their highest end watches. The Pacer Pro also comes with Polar's hill splitter feature, again because of that altimeter. And the hill splitter feature, basically it will automatically detect when you're climbing, descending, or on flat ground, and kind of gives you in context data as you're doing those. And where this can be beneficial is for something like like, let's say, hill repeats where you're doing the same hill over and over again, and you'll be able to kind of gauge your performance in real time. And then you'll be able to analyze that data later on in the Polar Flow app. The regular pacer, however, does not come with a barometric altimeter, so you won't be able to get running power on the wrist nor the hill splitter feature on the standard pacer. And then in terms of new software features, the Pacer and Pacer Pro also come with Polar's new walking VO2 Max test in addition to their running VO2 Max test, as well as their cycling FTP test to get a gauge on your fitness performance. So with the walking VO2 Max test, when you start the test, you'll go ahead and start up with a warm-up period. And then once you've reached about 65% of your maximum heart rate, you can initiate the actual test, and the test is super simple. You basically just walk as fast as possible for 15 minutes. And then if your heart rate drops below the minimum threshold during your test, the watch will basically alert you to work a little harder and raise your heart rate. And then when you're done and after a cool down period, you can see your results. However, I didn't find the results of this test to be all that close to my actual VO2 Max for running, which tends to hover around the mid to high 50s. And I did try this walking test a few times, of course. But then I also wanted to go ahead and compare this to the running performance test, which is also available on the Pacer and Pacer Pro. And although it may be a bit high, the running test produced probably a little closer result. And then I also compared this with the running index score that Polar can provide you, which is going out on a regular run. And I found this number to be closer as well to my actual VO2 Max. So I'm not exactly sure why the results of the walking test and the running test were all that different, but I feel that the running index that Polar provides after just going out for a regular run seems to be pretty in line though. And then the Pacer Pro also comes with Polar's Training Load Pro, which helps provide some insights based on your training history, giving you indication of where you're currently at, whether that be productive or not. And then based on your training history, you also get Polar's FitSmart training guidance, which provides suggestions on what you should do next, whether that be some strength work, cardio work, or supportive workout sessions. And this is where I think Polar does a really good job with providing quite a bit of information that's available for you. And then you also get Polar's weekly summary watch face view, which gives you kind of like a rundown of your training this week or even past weeks. And then you also can get weather information, so you can plan out what you're going to be doing. And then you can also control the music playing on your phone with music controls. And then on the notification side of things, you'll be able to receive one-way notifications from your phone, like text messages and calls. And then on the health tracking side of things, the Pacer and Pacer Pro come with Polar's nightly recharge sleep tracking feature, and their sleep tracking is probably some of the most comprehensive in terms of what data it provides. So it provides stuff like HRV, breathing rates, along with sleep stages, including REM, deep sleep, light sleep, and interruptions. It's kind of crazy how much data they provide in this department, and I find their sleep tracking to be pretty good. The Pacer Pro also comes with Polar's FuelWise nutrition and hydration reminders, which you can set up for longer activities. You can also import routes for breadcrumb navigation, and it also has turn-by-turn navigation in conjunction with routes from Komoot. And then it also comes with a back to start feature, which can point you back to your start. But this isn't a trackback feature, which I would have liked to see. And then it also does come with Strava Live segments. And then in terms of external sensors, the Pacer and Pacer Pro can connect to a whole bunch of external sensors, including external heart rate sensors, speed and cadence sensors, as well as power meters. But you can only connect Bluetooth sensors with the Pacer and Pacer Pro because these watches don't support ANT+ sensors. And then when it comes to GPS, the Pacer and Pacer Pro come with a new GPS antenna design, which is designed to be more accurate. And I found the Pacer Pro to be pretty darn accurate for both running as well as cycling. So like on this run here, the total distances lined up really nicely to some other test devices. And then if we take a close look at the GPS tracks, it's pretty solid throughout the entire run. If I had to nitpick, maybe right here on this curve, it wandered a little bit, but that's incredibly minor, and I really had to look for that. Overall, very good stuff. And then for a longer activity on this road ride, again, everything lined up just fine. And then for the finer details of the GPS tracks on that road ride, on nearly the entire ride, the Pacer Pro did well. I did notice on a handful of corners where it overshot just slightly, but nothing crazy by any means, and I think GPS accuracy looks pretty good for me. And then for heart rate accuracy, I'd say the Pacer Pro was okay, but I did find it to be a little bit shaky in some spots. So on this indoor bike ride right here, you can see a few little dips and a few little mini spikes here and there, but overall, not too bad on this ride at least. And then taking it outside for a road ride, here's where we start to introduce more variables like road vibration and bumps on the road, and we do see a bit more shakiness here. But funny enough, for a road ride outside, this actually is not bad for a wrist-based optical heart rate sensor, and again, the average heart rate over the course of the ride was totally usable. So the Pacer Pro is rather interesting because it really does offer quite a bit for $299, and it sort of puts Polar's higher-end watches in sort of an awkward position because, again, it offers so much. For a runner or even triathlete, I think this is a really good option, and I think it's priced competitively. And then when you compare the Pacer Pro to Polar's own Vantage M2, which also does have full-blown triathlon and multi-sport capabilities and is priced the same as the Pacer Pro currently, well, again, it kind of puts it in an awkward position because the Vantage M2 doesn't have an altimeter, so it doesn't collect running power from the wrist. However, the Vantage M2 does have a little bit more premium look to it. Anyhow, that's the new Pacer Pro, and if you have any questions about anything I didn't cover in this video, make sure to leave those in the comments section down below. And on your way down there, if the information in this video did help you out at all, don't be shy about hitting that like button, and also subscribe to the channel for plenty more sports tech videos that are coming soon. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video.